Welcome back. Hold on to your hats. It's Trilby Tour playoff time here at the Marriott Sprowston Manor. Let's meet the contenders. First up was the day's top scorer, James Vose, whose fabulous 39 points put him into this three-hole playoff final as the favourite. The Gordys Hill Dynamo, playing off 8, would get a couple of shots, but his body language was saying to the other playoff contenders, shots? Who needs shots? From corporate day winner to playoff contender, Sprowston Manor's very own Josh Halliday was looking the part. Unlike Vose, don't look for this quietly confident young player to give anything away when it comes to emotions. The poker face was on and Josh was ready to rumble. Looking every bit the governor was Carl Thorne. The big hitter has a deceptively laid-back style, but Thorne was looking to take this title lock, stock and 2 smoking barrels. And last but not least, the lowest handicapper in the playoff, Adrian Rosendale, in courtesy of the shootout scenario, was looking to steady the ship and make his classy game count. The opening tee shot, the crowds and the Sky Sports cameras. It doesn't get any better than this. Vose, Halliday, Thorne and Rosendale for the title. It was first blood to James Vose, who absolutely drilled his drive, and it flew and flew to put him in pole position on the first playoff hole fairway. The gallery stayed on, making the most of the glorious weather and hoping for an exciting playoff, and they were not going to be disappointed. Massive home support for the local lad Josh Halliday seemed to spur him on at playoff hole 1. A terrific approach to set up his first eagle opportunity of the playoff with a cracking shot. James Vose lashed the drive of the day and carried it a country mile into position A. His approach was good. With a shot, there was another eagle chance established. But for Vose, it seemingly wasn't good enough. A tough taskmaster indeed. Adrian Rosendale had to knock it back out onto the fairway from the trees. His third shot gave him a fighting chance of a par at the first hole. Carl Thorne was faced with exactly the same problem. He also responded well, determined not to lose ground in the early stages if he could possibly help it. Neatly done by Thorne and leaving an uphill putt on this sloping green. But it was heartache when the putts got underway. Halliday was convinced, as were the fans, that this one was in. And he's probably not sure, even to this day, how it wasn't. Still some work to be done though. Vose then for the lead. But he also hit the woodwork. Thorne needed his putt to drop to go 1 under and no damage done. He also shaved the hole and saw it race by on this rapid Sprowston green. Rosendale knew his putt would move, but would he hit it and risk everything? The answer was no, and he took his first dose of Trilby Tour playoff medicine like a good chap. A bogey start for the playoff, pressure already on the low handicapper. Vose was left with this one for 1 under. Confidently done to take the lead. Thorne, with meat still on the bone, had this one to stay level. Nicely holed, coming down the slope. Halliday 2/3 the distance of the Vose putt, but was still wary. In the end, comfortably holed by the local favourite, and he and Vose headed to the 17th, the par 3 second playoff hole, as joint leaders at 1 under. Playoff playoff hole 2, the par 3 17th, 190 yards and the pin tucked away. Bunkers right, left and centre front. No wonder the players look concerned up on the tee. Hitting the target here was always going to be difficult, coming away unscathed. Probably the favourite option. Vos to hit first once again, and even under the pressure, the pre-shot routine remaining intact. He caught it fat though and found the sand.
On the tee, Josh Halliday.
Halliday was looking to capitalise, but like so many when the tension sets in, he pushed it and watched it sail into the trees and an uncertain future.
On the tee, Carl Thorne.
Thorne was still very much in the running and he decided on a hybrid. He carried the sand, but again just let the shot drift right, ending up in the nasty stuff to the side of the green, but to his relief, with the ball sitting up nicely. Rosendale needed to seize the initiative, but this hole doesn't really lend itself to initiative seizing. He followed Thorne into the rough and wasn't quite so lucky with the lie. And so the Fab Four set off for their second shots with dreams of up and downs all around. For Josh Halliday, it had to remain a dream. The trees blocked any direct approach to the flag and he had to settle for some lateral thinking. While Mum had to endure yet more stress on the sidelines, but Josh displayed an old head on young shoulders and he got there in the end, conceding just a single shot and, as it transpired, retaining a share of the lead in front of the partisan gallery. James Vos had green to work with, but a steep bunker face to overcome. Undeterred though, he soldiered on, but doing little to relieve the pressure. At least he gave himself a chance to stay with Halliday at level par. Fair play to James, he held his nerve when it mattered, and he walked away with a share of the lead, with one to play. Adrian Rosendale's chip demanded a putt from distance in response. The response was very good indeed, but another shot went begging, and for Adrian the chance of Trilby Tour glory here at Sprowston Manor was rapidly disappearing. 2 over, 1 to play, 4th place all to himself. That left Carl Thorne as a potential threat to the leaders. His shot had to be good, and it was. Carl successfully making the only genuine up and down of the 4 at 17 to par the hole and stay level. A joint share of the lead with 18 to play. Thorne, Halliday and Vos taking it down the last. Exactly as it should be on a Trilby Tour Championship playoff. For two players at 18, it just wasn't meant to be. We'll spare you the gory details, but Carl Thorne's challenge came to an abrupt end via sand and rough. Adrian Rosendale played 18 very comfortably indeed, but par wasn't what he needed. And like Carl, he bowed out of the playoff, stepping aside for Vos and Halliday to battle it out for the trophy. The drama began again. For James, the opportunity to claim the title was genuine, as was his emotional reaction at coming up inches short when the chips were down. Still not over yet, and perhaps a sign of respect for Josh Halliday that James Vos almost forgot the young man had work to do. He just assumed that he would make this putt. And he did it in style to force the playoff back to the 18th tee to go again. Josh Halliday and James Vos finishing level after 3 playoff holes. The shootout was on.